What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kinda Funny's Spider-Man in Review. That's right. We are watching, ranking, and reviewing every Spider-Man movie to ever exist. I am Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez.
Hey,
there
guys.
we got Kevin Coelho. There we got... Who are you today?
I'm still Greg Miller.
Okay, Greg Miller.
I'm just wearing a mask.
It's been a while.
You're a fan.
Anyone can
I'll
wear
tell
the
you
mask.
what, exactly. They are painful to wear. I don't know how my friend Shirtless Spider-Man does it. You know what I mean?
He drinks a lot.
Does he?
Yeah.
Does he have a problem?
Well, I don't know that he has a problem, but every time he comes in, he just
smells?
He just smells like beer.
accusation.
And rounding out the group, Nick _Scarpino.
Hello, everyone.
It is good to be back, my friends.
Yeah,
The
we're here.
first Kinda Funny in review in a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time without
You
my
said,
friends.
I hate this show and I'll never
Hate
do
it.
it again.
Never fucking will do
and
it
I said,
again.
with the support of patreon.com/kindafunny, you will, Tim.
Oh, yes. And we are. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny's in Review.
I am.
And also, for the first time ever on the ones and twos on the boards back there, we got Barrett Courtney.
Hey. Oh, wait, does he get to chime in and stuff?
No,
No.
No, you don't.
Absolutely
No,
not.
You don't even
You don't
earn
get
that
you
yet.
don't get a voice in this organization
Kevin
unless you
just
put at
got
least
his own
a year
show.
in.
He's been working here 4.5 years.
You can get this show each and every, this is going to be something. What's the schedule now? Tuesday at
Every
I'm watching
Tuesday we
live.
record
Tuesday,
at
11
11 a.m.
There you
Tuesday,
go.
11 a.m. live on
Twitch.tv
twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. And then it goes up as a YouTube video. And on a podcast, you just got to search for Kinda Funny Reviews.
Tim,
on
correct me
podcast
if I'm
services.
wrong. If you go to patreon.com/kindafunny, you can get it ad-free as well on
You
Tuesdays,
can get
right?
this show ad-free. That is so true.
Yeah.
That is
Did
so
I just
true.
remind you that you need to have
That I need
ads
to
for
get
this
the
show?
ads. That's we're back, baby. We are back. This is very exciting. Like I said, we are rounding out the Spider-Man review with this episode into the Spider-Verse.
Man.
Very excited about it. Let's just get through the details real quick. December 14th. Guess what? That was the release date.
The world changed.
2018.
Right around the corner.
Directed by 3 people. We got Bob Persichetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. Produced by Avi Arad, Amy Pascal, Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, and Christina Steinberg. Screenplay by Phil Lord, Rodney Rothman, and once again, the story by Phil Lord. We might remember Mr. Phil Lord from things as the Lego Movie and 21 and 22 Jump Street. Which
And
makes a lot of sense.
little bit of Solo.
And a little bit of Solo. The good parts of Solo, you can
Just a
imagine.
little
But the reason I read so many names there is that I appreciate that this movie, it was very much a collaborative effort. And once it came out, there's been a lot of behind the scenes, like Twitter videos of like a lot of the artists and a lot of the animators and the sound designers and stuff. It's like, I feel like this movie is kind of giving a platform for the behind the scenes guys in a way that we haven't really seen before. And I love that it's not just directed by and then one name. It's like, they're like, we're going to share the efforts here.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a movie like of this scale come out where so many of the creators are coming out. It reminds me of like when a game is released and all the artists say, I could finally show everybody what I've been working on. That's what this feels like. Like there's been so many awesome clips learning like, this, they're on 1s and 2s, animation and all that stuff. It's fucking awesome, dude. It's really cool.
And then things where how they recorded the, I hate Nick so much. Recorded the audio of like the line scratching, where during the action scenes where they're fighting and where they're going through the city and stuff, like all of that was like live mixed, where they were doing the sounds to react to whatever they were doing using record scratches of pre-recorded sounds. Like they took the spray paint sounds and took from the earlier scenes and scratched that as Miles is like jumping off of things. It's fucking cool as hell.
Really interesting.
Yeah. A budget.
Anyone can wear the mask.
A budget of $90 million.
Do they smell?
Which, Nick, in reference,
He's really drunk when he
is
does
that a
this.
lot?
That's not a lot I mean, I guess for an animated movie, that'd probably be a lot. I'd have to look up what like Pixar does, but this thing stands out, man. Like for whatever reason, they knocked this out of the park. The visual style of this is freaking amazing. The cast is amazing. I immediately walked out. I was like, I want to see this movie again, and I want there to be a sequel in the works immediately.
It's so shocking that Sony took a risk on this style and dove in. And I wonder whether they just knew they had faith or whether it was like nothing else has worked before. Let's try this. What's the
budget for Incredibles 2? Barrett, look up the budget for Incredibles 2. And let's see what that looks like. 'Cause I feel like that's a good litmus, right? Like that's the one that just came out.
Yep.
By the way, I watched that.
So go to Box.
Fantastic.
Wait, no. What is it? Movie
He'll
Mojo?
figure it out.
Go to eatmybox.com.
You fucking punk ass bitch.
Eat my box vomit.
Box Office Mojo is what you
Yeah,
want.
that's it. Box Office Mojo. That'll give you a breakdown of like price and stuff. But this
movie was also in development for a long, long time, so this might be a higher budget.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this movie is that it was announced a long time ago. Like when we knew that
production
there was
budget.
this new lineup of Spider-Man movies happening, we knew we were getting Homecoming.
Right.
It was like after the Marvel deal went
And we
through.
were all so scared.
That we knew it was going to be Ultimate Spider-Man and it was
Yeah,
going to be a
yeah.
cartoon.
Which is
I
exciting.
wasn't scared. I just
Really?
thought that it was going to be whatever.
I
I thought
was
it
so
wasn't going
worried.
to be a real effort movie. I thought it was going to be more similar to the DC like straight to DVD,
yeah, the
straight
animated
to streaming
movies.
animated
Yeah,
movies,
Which are,
where it's like
I'm told, very good.
but
They're hit or miss.
it's hit or miss,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. And I thought that this could have been hit or miss, and
not
I feel
public.
like this
It's not
was
public.
on a whole other level. Like this is, in my opinion, in the conversation of best animated movie. Like I feel like this could get the Oscar
I think so
next year.
too. It did some
It has
really,
to.
really cool
You
stuff.
say that, but historically, Pixar, if they had made a movie that year, they get it. Like
I hear you,
it's-
but I
and
mean,
they did
don't-
Incredibles 2 this year.
which is
But
great.
yeah, it was
I'm
great.
not, I'm not saying nothing against Incredibles 2. I just think we're talking about Into the Spider-Verse. Like, this movie is insanely good. I have not seen anyone, and I'm not looking for it, but be like, wasn't that good? Or usually what I'm seeing is, you motherfucker, these are tweets. You motherfuckers have hyped this up so much that I went there thinking there was no way, and it somehow exceeded my expectations.
Same here.
Yeah.
I had the same feeling because
I cried twice now watching it. You know
for
what I
a
mean?
solid week, the movie came out like I guess people saw early screenings. I know
Yeah.
Barrett went early. A lot of other people went
Say
early,
goodbye to that.
and I was like, "There's no way that this movie can live up to the hype," and it did. It was just incredible.
Just to go back to production budgets, just looking at a cursory Google search of animated production budgets. How to
Nuggets?
Train Your Dragon, $165 million production budget. Kung Fu Panda, $130 million production budget. Money well spent there, by the way.
And I wonder-
Kung Fu Panda, fantastic.
88
Shrek,
million
the
was
original
Jack
Shrek,
Black.
$60 million.
But those are all like really old movies. Do you have any more newer dates on there?
I got a rough number.
Toy
for
Story 3,
Incredibles
$200
2.
million? For Toy Story 3?
Incredibles 2 rough
Barrett
number.
Cordy
Barrett?
says,
Incredibles 2, roughly 200 million.
Yeah, that sounds about
Can
right.
they hear you, Barrett?
Yeah, they can.
So $90 million for a production budget, not that
That's
much.
really low.
Not that much. And I think that it's obviously, I don't know if a lot of budget goes into the voice talent for these things. I have to imagine so, especially for Toy Story 3, where you're bringing Tim Allen out of the fucking crypt and putting it back on
Hanks.
He
camera
loves doing it.
How much did
course he
Chris
does.
Pine cost
to get that
for
cameo.
as little as he was? In
Probably
the
not that
movie?
much.
Who was he in the movie?
He was
first
the original
Spider-Man.
Blonde Spider-Man, which is fucking awesome because all of us when we were watching the movie were like,
that doesn't sound like Nick Johnson.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, well, just like that sounds like Chris Pine, and then later when the credits came, it's like it's fucking Chris Pine. Like that's awesome.
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson. Sorry.
Yeah, some of the
he's Nick on New Girl.
in New Girl,
that's
yeah,
what it is.
and he's
Also
Nick
on
in
Nick,
real life
so-
too.
and you think about it a lot.
The
I think
cast
about
was
you.
insane for this. We got Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker, which I thought was a fun little name thing there. Haley Steinfeld was Gwen Stacy, which I didn't recognize her
Yeah, she's awesome.
in the voice. Love her. Saw her in Bumblebee last night. Did I like it? I did.
Oh, I forgot it came
Save
out.
it. Tweet.
Save
Save
for the
it.
show. Mahershala Ali
let's see.
is
Her what?
Aaron Davis, which is fucking rad.
And that
He's awesome.
wasn't really advertised, and I think it was because they wanted the surprise of like, oh, the Uncle Prowler is the
Yeah,
the
exactly.
villain or whatever.
And then going through Lily Tomlin as May Parker. That was great. Zoe Kravitz as Mary Jane Watson. John Mulaney as Peter Porker. And like, good Lord, could you have
best
picked
casting.
a more perfect voice? Kimiko Glenn as Penny Parker and Nicolas Cage as Peter
Killed
Parker,
it.
Spider-Man
So
Noir.
good.
Yeah, killed it. He was so
Are we
good.
in
He had one
spoilers? Do we
line.
spoil the show? I can't remember. how we
spoiled
go.
the
Not
show.
yet. Not
The
yet.
show.
Wait, I thought.
This isn't
you're
like
right.
this isn't
Right.
this is
Right.
a traditional interview, not a hey review
What
at
was
the
his
same time.
one
So
line?
The part where he's
that's-
like,
that's-
take this. This will fit in your pocket. Or that was John Mulaney's
Yeah,
character.
yeah,
That
yeah.
fucking like, and then the Rubik's cube.
I
bit.
don't understand. I'm taking this. I don't understand it.
So funny.
He can't see color.
That's another note about in review the show as it goes on in the future. We changed the day to Tuesday because we want to give people the weekend to watch the new movie if it is a new movie,
Yeah.
and so that we can talk about it a bit more, like full spoilers, not having to worry about the did we like it or not. It's like no, we're going in and it's going to be.
We're
in
very
review.
much doing it right in the style of what MCU in review was, where we're watching these, recapping these, ranking these. It's not so much about our knee-jerk reaction.
Moving on. So okay,
Now hold on.
bunch-
Have you read or seen this? There was I saw somewhere a rumor that Tobey Maguire was supposed to be like the Spider-Man that opens this up, Chris Pine Spider-Man. That's supposed to be Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And did they approach him or did they not approach him?
From what I understand, and I feel like right now there's a lot of fake news out there. Of
Fake news!
like comic book resources and shit that just make up headlines essentially that are like just trying to get the clicks of stuff.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, the real story to be,
Yeah.
both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were in talks to be significant parts of this movie, and then they were like, let's back off. Let's not overshadow.
That would have been a bad idea.
Miles' story here. Like, let's make it more about that, and like, let's keep them. If there's a sequel or anything, we can like pull out the guns.
Okay.
The thing with that is that's such a loaded thing, right? Having Tobey Maguire in it comes with so
Spider-Man
much
movies?
baggage. Well, no, but that's the thing. Like, real talk though. Like, a lot of people like those movies. A lot of people don't like those movies,
I haven't
myself
seen them in
included.
a
Like,
while.
well, I mean, either way. That brings in another element that I just don't think this movie needed. It had so many great cameos; it would have overshadowed them. There's no point to it.
I hear you, but I still, and I'm not. Don't think you're 100% wrong. You know what I mean? But the fact that they put Chris Pine in there as like, oh, that was cool. I think in the same way, if you would have opened it and it was like Tobey Maguire being like, I'm Spider-Man, you know what I mean? And then it is like the stuff he talks about in the beginning, right? Save the city, just punch the card, like in the upside down kiss. Like they're clearly referencing iconic Spider-Man movie moments.
Well,
I
and
agree.
comic book moments as well.
And so for him to get killed and everybody to come out and be like, holy shit, that was
Well,
awesome.
I mean, it wasn't that Spider-Man though.
And that's why.
I know.
That's the
You're
thing.
right.
It's
You're
kind
right.
of
You're
Spider-Man,
right.
and that's why I'm glad they didn't use that voice
Because now one day they can actually
Yeah.
do that Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd prefer. Because like once you see he's blonde and stuff, I was just like, oh, this is interesting. Because I thought they were
Right.
going to go the more, this is Ultimate Spider-Man from the comics, but with some of the story elements of the Tobey Maguire movies.
Yeah.
Once that happens, I'm like, oh shit, they're just really like, we want
This
a
is their
fresh,
own
a
universe.
fresh
That's
start
great.
here.
That's good. Yeah, good point. Good
And my
point.
initial thought was like, man, his hair is super light brown. Really light brown.
It's almost blonde like Tim's.
Fucking hate you. A runtime of an hour and 57 minutes. And so going back to the budget here, $90 million budget for this. And currently the box office, there's been a lot of scuttlebutt on Twitter saying of like, oh, this movie's not doing as well as it should. Go see
Really?
it. And that, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. And it's like, that's true. Go fucking see this movie. Support this movie so we get more animated movies of this quality. But it's doing pretty well. Right now, as of January 6th, it's at 275.
Nice.
Yeah. So doing pretty well.
Fantastic.
And I do want to say I saw it yesterday again, middle of the day on Saturday.
What the fuck's he doing?
Totally filled theater. And so,
doesn't know
in
how to
3
use the
weeks
green
afterwards.
screen.
Yeah.
So crooked.
And I think that, or hopefully,
That's
once
my
we get
fault.
into the award season and people are talking about this, because whether or not it wins Best Animated
Right,
Movie,
right.
I do think it's going to win a lot of awards for.
It better win.
I think it should. I think it should
Visuals
because,
and
like,
audio.
not only is it a phenomenal story, it also does really cool things. Like, they did experimental stuff with animation, and it worked out. So,
Greg,
Yeah.
hit me with that sweet, nasty plot.
All right, cool. So, well, when I like to think about this recap, I think of it very much like Into the Spider-Verse, right? Like I was shuffling a deck of cards with all the plot points, and they all just went everywhere. So feel free to chime in and stop me. We start with Spider-Man, right? Or Chris Pine Spider-Man, recapping who he is, and he's been Spider-Man for what? He says 11 years.
20 years, I think he said.
No, that's
the
Peter
other
B.
one.
Parker.
He's 27
I
at
think he
this
says
point.
10 years?
He dies.
Yeah, it's right around that part. He's still in the prime of his career, but it gets fucked up because I'm still thinking of Insomniac Spider-Man.
that's what it is. It's
in,
not
and
8 years.
It's 20 years for Peter B. Parker. We know.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, he's having a great time. Everything's fantastic. He's Spider-Man. Hooray! Everybody loves him except certain people who we'll get to later. But we get the really funny fucking lines. And again, we want to talk about how well this was done and how you're like in the theater like, is that Chris Pine? I was like, this doesn't sound like Nick from New Girl, right? Because
Yeah.
I had heard this monologue from Nick from New Girl and one of the things where they're talking about the popsicle and all that jazz.
Yeah.
It's all there, but now it's Chris Pine and it's great. And what a great little swerve, you know what I mean? To set up the world being a little bit different. Anyway, Spider-Man's there. Spider-Man's Spider-Man, you know, hooray. But then there's Miles Morales, who for some reason didn't watch my Instagram stories and get on the Sway Lee train early. So he doesn't know all the lyrics to this Post Malone
Right.
song that Sway Lee's in. Also, Sway Lee has a monkey in this world, I assume, as well, which I don't think is legal, and Sway Lee should not have that monkey. Someone needs
It's
to...
animated, dude. I think
Swaley doesn't
rules
give a
out the window.
shit about legality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay?
you know he will, all right? He will. A lot of people will. Watching this R. Kelly documentary right now, all right? Let me tell
Crazy.
you, the legal
Whoa.
shit catches up to you.
Yo.
Sway Lee, be careful with this monkey. Anyways, Morales here, he doesn't know the lyrics to it. He's got parents. That's great. They go downstairs. He eats this food out of a giant pot that I didn't understand, but I saw a lot of people who are also Puerto Rican being like, oh my God, my mom makes that dish, and this is one of the many reasons I love this movie of a people of color, and like they're bringing it in. It's actually authentic, and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, though, Miles is going to go to school, but he doesn't go to the same school he does. He has to pack a suitcase. Why? Doesn't make sense at the first part, but then you get
Very confusing.
Very confusing, right? Yeah,
Especially when. Okay, sorry, I'm already interrupting you.
Doesn't matter.
The scene with the over the top scene, which is really cool, like fast forwarding sort of time lapse, where he's in bed and his roommate is on the computer. my initial thought was like, who the fuck's this kid?
Yeah.
I did
why is he in this room?
did not understand what that was at all.
He goes to a boarding school still in New York City, but just far enough away from his parents because he got into this special school using the test. He is a scholarship kid, though, so it's a weird thing. But he has to walk by his old school. Everybody's like, hey, man, and Miles is so cool. He's just the coolest kid. He's putting up his graffiti stickers. Don't listen to Cool Greg. Don't do graffiti.
Yeah.
He's putting up his graffiti stickers everywhere, and ooh, that's happening. And then he trips, and then the whoop whoop, and it's his dad, and his dad puts him in the cop car because his dad's a cop, and his dad doesn't like Spider-Man when they start talking about Spider-Man stuff. And it's very funny, all that stuff. And then he takes him to school. We get that I love you thing we saw from the trailer.
And that's
Such a
something
good
that I
scene.
really love is that a lot of times we see trailers for movies and we see the movie and it's just like, oh, they used all the best parts in the trailer. Or it's like, oh, that was funny, but I've heard it too many times in the
Yeah.
trailers. This movie, the jokes all landed for me. It's like even the things that we heard, I feel like they tweaked them enough or like the punchline was in a different place where like it felt fresh.
Yeah.
So fucking cool.
Speaking of fresh, Greg Way, Miles goes into school and he's not fresh. Nobody likes him here. He's the odd man out. Nobody wants to be his friend. It's very sad. It's very, very sad.
Very sad.
He comes to class late.
Hilarious joke of him pointing at the girl and being like, I like what you're wearing.
Oh,
They're all
yeah.
wearing
It
the
was
same
Suicide
thing.
Guy.
I like that. Whatever. I don't fucking know.
Hey, whoa. I'm just saying, if you want to step into my recap ring, brother, you better bring the
recap
fucking
juice.
juicy bits, all right?
He's gonna go off on you, man. I know.
Hey, man,
I see a race car on the red.
I got a lot of pent-up recap in me, all
Race
right?
car on the red.
He's late to class. He interrupts the thing, talking about parallel dimensions and all this stuff. Very interesting. There's Olivia up there on the screen. We just see Olivia doing,
Where does she
doing her
work?
thing. She works.
Alchemax.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you very
which
much.
if
Yeah,
you are a Spider-Man comic reader, you'll know is essentially the like Osborn stuff for $20.99.
Yeah,
Spider-Man. Cool little things.
Weird Al works, eh?
And that's
my contribution for the
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. His bad joke gets a laugh out of Gwendolyn or whatever. She fakes her name to be
Gwanda.
Gwanda. Thank you very much. They sit down, they talk, they flirt a little bit. It doesn't happen, whatever. School day goes on. Congratulations, life sucks for Miles. We probably cut away somewhere in here to see Kingpin's doing bad
Yeah.
stuff, right? He's setting some bad
setting
stuff
something
up.
up.
Yeah,
I love how he looks.
Oh, he's awesome.
I love that they just were like, fuck it, we're going with this like
He's the
super unrealistic,
enormous-
voiced by
menacing
the bad
design.
guy from Scream as well, right?
Oh.
and the
So,
guy from
Sabretooth.
HBO's
Liv
Hard
Schreiber.
Knocks.
Lee Schreiber, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to your voice, Lieb. You know what I mean?
great,
I remember
dude.
watching
He's so
Scream and
good.
being like, this
Kingpin.
guy will go nowhere. And then it turned out he had golden pipes. And so every time he walks up to a microphone, he goes, and then just gold comes out. Gold comes out. You know what I mean?
Dude,
His voice juice.
if you're an audio listener, you need to watch the video where Greg Miller just jacked off his neck.
I'm Lieb Schreiber.
I love the veins popping out too.
Oh, dude,
don't. I
I'll
don't
tell you
love
what, you know what I
any of
mean? A
that.
lot of people look at people like The Rock when they lift and they're like, man, Rock must use his arms a lot. As someone who uses his neck and vocal cords a lot, that's where like 90% of my
Yeah,
veins
yeah.
are. You look in there and it's like one of those fucking things from the Blair Witch.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what he's talking about either.
The weird twig.
Nick knows, man. Nick's a movie buff over here, all right?
I've never seen Nick so quiet and just kind of absorbing everything right now.
It's just that you're
It's
a lot
been
to
while.
take into it, I guess. A lot to
Pent
take
up
in.
on recap juice.
Coursing through your veins.
Anyways, this fucking movie's still going on. So Miles goes back to his room. He's got to work on a great Oh yeah, that was the thing. The professor's like, hey, you got every fucking question wrong. That's impossible. You're trying to fail out. I won't let you. Very sweet. Very cool. That's
Yeah.
a good professor right there. That's a good teacher.
Also, good character development of showing like Miles is smart.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's very smart, and it's like they didn't need to like hit us over the head with it.
The
Right,
first,
I
the
really
first thing
like
I
that.
didn't. Oh, sorry.
That was just- go
first thing I didn't notice initially when I first saw it was I didn't realize that it was true and false. I kind of just misunderstood. I thought it was a multiple choice. I was like, well, how
It's
do you know
possible
he got them all right?
No, that's what I liked about the logic of that, right? She was like, in order to have gotten all, statistically, this was almost impossible for you to
Yeah.
get every single one of them wrong, which means that you must have known the right answer to all of them to get all of them wrong.
Yeah.
So that she
Really
gave him
cool.
100 instead of a 0. She just wrote the
Good
1
teacher.
0
Love
0.
that.
I was like, that's clever. That's clever. This kid's
Once I
trying to
missed
tank
3
it.
and a teacher put a cigarette on him, I mean, no big deal. Though, you know what I'm saying?
You went to Catholic school too.
I did. So Miles goes and he's going to write his paper, but he's not. Instead, he's going to go hang out with Uncle Aaron. Uncle Aaron seems like he's very cool. We go to Uncle Aaron's crib. They talk. They make popcorn. It's a very awesome relationship.
Fucking what's so
Dope
cool
house,
about it
too.
though
Oh,
is
yeah, great apartment.
Like we talked about this earlier, but this movie is so authentic, and you know, growing up with somebody that may or may not have been involved in the graffiti. Like him having his little black book and just doodling in it and drawing in it. It's like the
nonstop,
Great
yeah.
Expectations like essay that he's supposed to write. Like he was just doodling like no expectations or whatever. I'm like, this is fucking cool. Like
Very
they
accurate
really,
looking, yeah.
it's not just like, oh, we're gonna get graffiti in there. It's like they nailed the elements of it from the stickers to the book to like the throw up the pieces and stuff. I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
Like sitting next to my brother and he's just like, he didn't say much. Not
He
that he
doesn't
should in
really
the
say
theater,
much,
but like, yeah, he
usually.
was just like,
Yeah, I saw Brian
Alright,
Altano
cool.
tweet that like, this movie really made him miss New York hip hop and graffiti. That just the whole vibe that this movie
Yeah.
really nailed down.
fucking cool.
And here's where we learned the hey move, which was
Yeah.
great. They're a great scene.
So funny.
So endearing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Anyways, though, they're going to go throw up a tag. So they go down into the subway. They go down in this little thing, and there's this area, and it's great. And it's a funny thing of, Miles not being able to get over the chain link fence or whatever, like Aaron was able to, because Aaron did it really very interestingly fast.
Yeah, and he's like, "How'd you find this place?" He's like, "Oh, I got a couple jobs down here, or whatever."
Yeah,
Yeah,
No, we know
nice
each other.
little, yeah.
We know.
So he goes in there and he tags the Great Expectation thing, and it's an amazing scene of things happening, and we're montaging around, very cool. And the whole time there's a spider coming. What's that number on the spider, Timmy Tam?
42.
Why?
Jackie
what's that
Robinson.
mean, Timmy Tam?
42 is just
Jackie
like
Robinson.
in the comics they were doing experiments on a bunch of spiders. To be honest, Miles Morales' story kind of sucks. Like his origin story, it's like a little too
Here or in
in
okay.
real thing. I think that this movie's version is the best version we've seen of Miles and of Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, I forget. In Ultimate Comics, it was that Aaron was running jobs and got the spider in his
Yeah,
bag or
stuck
whatever.
on him, yeah.
Yeah, Aaron was the Prowler, and he's like much more of a bad guy in
Yeah,
the comics. Like,
way more.
even when he dies, it's like
don't feel good
it's
for him,
not
yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah.
But
Also,
he.
I'm sorry, I was going to say also worth noting, 42 is the answer to the ultimate question, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yep.
So
True.
there you go. But no, he's like sneaking into Osborn's doing experiments to try to replicate Spider-Man.
Whoa, never
And
jack
then
off
he-
another man's neck.
Spider-Man just died.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to replicate Spider-Man, and then it was like all these different spiders and whatnot.
And then
42
Prowler's
is
like going in to break into the Osborn thing to steal a bunch of shit, accidentally steals a spider.
Gotcha.
It gets Miles.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, same thing happens kind of here where the spider comes down, all this happening. Miles finally goes to take a photo of his artwork. The spider goes up and we get the and it bites him, and you see all the stuff going to him, and then he just one of the best scenes of the
Yeah.
fucking movie, just slaps it and walks out without ever screaming or crying or getting the giant fucking testicle like Tobey Maguire.
Very Family Guy, like comedic timing. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
it
exactly.
just like happens and it's quiet. I love it.
So yeah, he goes back to his dorm. He goes to sleep. We probably cut back to Kingpin and his goons or something here. Maybe not Spider-Man. So then we go to school and we wake up for school the next day, and Miles puts on his stuff. He's hit puberty, giant growth spurt. Pants aren't as long as they should be. You know what I mean? And he's walking around school and he's very awkward. He can hear his own thoughts because they're popping up in the text bubbles, and it's very
Such
interesting.
a
how he
fun
does
way
that.
to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love that the style of the movie changes when he becomes Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I like, it's just a nice little touch of things like that. And this movie has all those, right? Like we talked about stylistically before. I just want to go back to it. Like the blur effect that they use, right? The shadow effects they use. All of these really just are so subtle, and you don't notice them until maybe halfway through. You're like, huh,
Well,
that's cool.
that was,
Really well
I
done.
went and saw it again, which is so rare for me with a new release movie, unless it's Batman v Superman. And watching it again, like, I mean, you're watching it that first time, and it was the strangest thing for me. Of course, I go to the best theater around Alamo Drafthouse where I have all my food, my snacks, and my drinks.
It's got the perfect level of ambient light inside of the
Exactly right.
While you're watching.
It's like you're at a movie watching party because you're there with people that are there to have a good time.
Yeah.
Not to be like, I ate too much sushi, my tum-tum. You know,
Like, you don't. Also,
sushi.
the fact of the matter is, the screen's too contrasted. You have to have a lot of light in the theater while you're watching the movie in order to make it perfect.
do you not want
I
good
don't hear
eyes?
them, you know? I don't
Right? Do you
hear them.
understand how
I don't hear
owls
them.
work? Idiot. Anyways, though.
I saw it in Dolby and it's fucking phenomenal.
As did
I mean,
I,
I'm throwing
yeah.
it away, but what I want to do is, everyone knows my own preferences and hangups, right? This is
They're bad.
the first movie I think I've ever seen at Alamo / anywhere where it was like literally like where I was like slamming into things on the table because I couldn't take my eyes off the screen while I ate, right? Like I didn't want to miss anything because it's like such a visual delight. You know what I mean?
But in your peripherals, you can see everything. Such good peripheral.
no,
so much lighting everywhere.
Like an owl, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
How does an owl's eyes
Turn your head
work?
360 degrees around right now.
It's science with Kev.
Science with Kev.
How do owls' eyes work,
I
Kevin?
mean, they're just real big, you know?
Yeah.
They open up
Wait,
real
they're not like
wide.
an iguana, right? Iguanas can't.
No,
Iguanas move their eyes
You
independently.
know that owls
No,
are
no,
really
no.
fucking dumb. Owls are like the dumbest,
You ever
one of the
seen a
dumbest
feather
creatures.
owl?
I don't know if that's true. I
the
wanna
whole
make that clear.
No. The whole idea of like wise owls, it's bullshit. Like they have very tiny brains. They are not smart creatures.
I don't
Are
think
you gonna
that's
tell
true.
what next
They
you gonna tell me?
poop
The
through their
dolphins
mouths.
aren't smart
They
either?
don't
No, dolphins are
have
smart.
the
Dolphins.
correct eye muscles to move their eyes around because they're so big.
They poop through their
So
mouths.
that's why their neck can
They
twist
do. That's
so
true.
much.
They do.
That's why their neck twists so much.
What do they do?
They poop through their mouths.
They spit out those
They
like
vomit.
balls that
They-
you break apart
yeah.
and you have like skulls in them and
It's
shit.
really cool. It's very exciting.
And if you're a villain and an owl, you have big eyebrows.
always,
true, too.
always.
Incredible.
Even if you're a good
throwback.
guy, Owl
Good
Man,
throwback.
right? He also has
Just
big
anything.
eyebrows.
Penguins too. Big eyebrows.
Court of the Owls.
Emperor
What up, Aaron
penguins.
Courtney?
Hey.
Are we done with science with Kevin?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Science, science, science with Kev.
I'm Kevin.
Turn off the lights.
Why don't they give us the option of that theater?
Just bring gaff tape.
Just don't go there.
Oh, I covered up. I have thought about bringing gaff tape
gaff
before.
tape. Put a couple in there.
Where are we at?
Well, I'm at the Alamo having a great time. He gets bitten, growth spurt, it's puberty, sweating a lot. He's running around. He runs into Gwen Stacy, who he thinks is Gwanda, because she fucks it up trying to say her name. Then he gets his hand stuck to her head in a very funny scene. Then he gets it shaven off in a very funny scene.
Why was she weird about her name in this?
Because there's another Gwen Stacy.
She knows that
somewhere.
there's another. This is a parallel world.
Oh,
and there
okay.
probably is a Gwen Stacy.
Got it,
She
that
shouldn't
makes
say
sense.
Gwen Stacy. She has no idea.
Yeah, at this point, she's already traveled over or whatever.
We don't know that yet.
Speaking of which, you get into Greg's comic book club for a second. Have you read the new Ghost Spider stuff? Pretty good. And did you read any of the Spider-Geddon stuff?
Make a coffee.
No, Spider-Gwen.
Can you give me
Pretty
more
good.
water with
Pretty
ice?
good. Just interesting.
Can you get me a Red Bull?
Yo, can you find me? No.
Thank you.
So that happens. It gets shaven off. She's like, great. Shuts her little compact. That's fine.
Looks dope.
Exactly,
dope.
exactly. He comes out, everybody's laughing at him. He knows it. He has a flip out. He starts running, runs into the security guard. Security guard's like, "Hey man, I know you snuck out last night." And Miles like, "Fuck you," and runs past him. He's like, "Where?" And then he's
Goes to
running around.
hide.
He picks up one random room to hide in. He hides in the security guard's office. Locks the door. He's doing the sticky thing. He can't stop. He's shirt. He's stuck to the ceiling. He tears off his clothes. Then he runs outside the building. He's stuck on the building. And he goes from "please stop sticking" to "please keep sticking."
Yeah.
He runs around. Nobody notices except Gwen, of course, out there. And she's like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Something cool that happens, a little Easter egg, is
Put it on.
throughout the movie we see a bunch of comic covers that are kind of like almost chapters in the movie where it's
The origin stories?
The origin stories, but
Oh,
also,
you mean like when he picks up Amazing Fantasy? And
yeah,
it's-
there's that like the scene that you're talking about here where
Yep.
he's running out. It's
And he
like when he
finally-
sticks, when he eventually it cuts to a comic thing and it says "please keep sticking" or whatever.
He
and
gets
it's Miles.
into exactly. When he comes around the side after Gwen sees him, he gets into his own room and picks up his roommate's Spider-Man comic stuck to his hand.
And all of those are actual, whatever the number is, like it's a fake cover, but they're all real Spider-Man comics from history. But whatever is happening in that scene is
the
what
actual
happens
cover?
in that comic.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's like,
Okay.
or at least it's inspired by that stuff, which is really cool.
Awesome. And that's when he puts it kind
Thank you.
of. That's when he puts it together. That like, oh man, I'm sticking just like Spider-Man is sticking in the comic book. I got bit by that spider last night. I got to figure this out. He calls Uncle Aaron. Uncle Aaron's like, "Hey, I'm gone for a few days. I'm out of town."
Something we missed too about Easter egg,
Lay it
Uncle
on.
Aaron, when you get to his house for the first time, when they're just hanging out on the TV, it's Community playing.
I did see that, and it's
Donald Glover
in the Spider-Man
Spider-Man outfit, which is a reference to Donald Glover almost being
Miles.
trying to be Spider-Man, trying to be Peter Parker in the Amazing Spider-Man movies with what was it, Donald for Spider-Man hashtag?
I think so.
I think that's
such a long time ago.
Yeah, but then when that didn't happen, then Donald Glover became the voice of Miles Morales in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Great movie.
That's
Great
not
cartoon.
a movie.
And then he is also
Aaron.
He is Uncle
Uncle
Aaron.
Aaron in Homecoming.
Homecoming, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you're watching this for the first time, we don't include MCU in this. This is all the non-MCU Spider-Mans in review. We didn't say that at the front. Just
Yeah.
a piece of housekeeping.
Although I think we're all thinking it. Where does it rank?
We'll do that
against
at
Homecoming?
the end.
Anyways, he runs back to, it's a normal spider. He runs back into the subway down on the ground, finds the spider. It's got the 42 on it. And then he gets the spider sense for the first time. He's like, what? Poof, like the walls explode. He falls down. It's guess what? It's Green Goblin versus Spider-Man. They're fighting down there. Wilson Fisk is down there. Olivia's down there, right? And they're like, oh man, we're going to do this thing with this beam and we're going to cross the dimensions. And Fisk is like, you have to, you got to bring them back. Who you got to bring back? We don't know yet. Something's happening. What's going on?
It's the big isotope genome accelerator is what it is that allows them to go between different fucking universes.
Yeah.
In the comics, it's the same thing and it looks exactly the same as the original radioactive thing that Peter Parker,
The spider went
when they
through.
were at the exhibit, when he gets bit, like it's the same fucking
But
generator.
much,
The,
much
the
bigger.
look of Wilson Fisk, it was inspired from a comic book, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Was it?
Wilson Fisk?
Yeah, the way he looks in this movie.
Yeah,
huge.
Yeah, I
That's
don't remember
awesome.
the specific one. It was
Okay,
like a weird
the
one-off
run. Yeah.
series that an artist specifically designed that. But Green Goblin's look is from the Ultimate
Yeah.
Got it.
series.
So they're having a gobby Spidey fight as they often do, and they're bumbling around, slamming into things. Miles is almost always about to get out, and then something bad happens to trap him back in there or whatever. Eventually,
He starts talking to Spider-Man eventually, right?
well, yeah, exactly. Eventually, they get united. They both have spider sense. Spider-Man immediately recognizes you're like me. All right, cool, kid. I'm gonna help you. Well, yeah, I'll show you how to
Great
use all
scene.
these powers and stuff,
Yeah.
but I gotta
I'll
take care of
teach
this
you,
thing
I'll teach
first.
you.
Yeah. They turn on the beam. Goblin forces Spider-Man into the beam. This, lets Spider-Man see into a whole bunch of crap that's going on in the multi-dimensions. We get a brief, I think it's on the actual control screen. We see the 616 universe. We see the 5 universes they're pulling from to do this or whatever, at least in this one experiment, which is where everything goes wrong. They all yell at Goblin to stop doing that. All hell breaks loose. Spider-Man gets out. They knocks out Goblin, but he gets mortally wounded. He goes down. Everything explodes and falls apart. Miles gets down to Spider-Man first, who's got his shattered eye and stuff, and he's like, "That's the thing about you. Can you get up? I'm Spider-Man. I always get up." And he's like, coughs, and he's like, "Oh, that's not a good sign," or whatever. And he's like, basically like, "Yeah, hey, you got to get it. You got to get up there. Use your powers." Gives him a USB device. You got to get up there. You got to do this. You
Use
got to.
the
What do they
goober.
call the goober?
Does he call it the goober there?
No.
I was saving that for when Peter B. Parker gets
Yeah.
introduced. But y'all want to just ruin the punchlines? Guess what,
Put your
everybody?
hand
At
in
the
this
end, they
hot
all go
coffee.
home. They all
Put it in
fucking
the
go
coffee,
home.
Greg.
And then $20.99
stupid hand in
Spider-Man
this
points
hot
at the other
coffee.
Spider-Man. Great, everybody.
See you later.
It's number 1. Miles gets out of there, but he can't get up there. He don't know how to use those powers yet. You know what
Can
I
I
mean?
just say, what a fucking violent scene.
So violent.
Wilson Fisk, like the sound
Bashes
design and the
him.
way that they cut that, I'm like, he knocked his fucking head off. Like, that was insane.
he's dead.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they did that.
Right. Of course, when the beam went haywire, we saw a wide shot of New York and like the radius coming out, power rolling out,
Started
but coming
like
back in.
freaking out like street signs.
Yeah,
and
there's
changing
a
into,
thing
like,
that goes all multiverse on him or whatever.
That's a cool effect, by the way.
Very cool.
Not like ripples through the city.
Miles sees all this sees the death of Spider-Man, starts to run and makes noise. So Prowler goes after him. Prowler loses him through a bunch of hooker crook stuff. Does he? He doesn't use his invisibility here for the first time, does he?
No, I don't
just
think
gets
so. I
away.
think it's later.
Just gets away. And that was the thing too. Once he got to the top level of streets in New York, I was like, just walk, just calm down, Miles. Just blend in. There's a million
Well,
people.
that's
Just
something-
watch someone die.
That's something that I like about how they
he's a
handle
kid,
it.
I get
is
it, but I'm like, calm down.
Once he gets to back to his house, like he's freaking out and crying because like he just saw somebody die, and it's like I feel like they
Spider-Man.
handled that well. Spider-Man specifically, but like that really I feel characterized Miles of like where he's at, and that's something I've always thought was weird about the comics is like he was like in what like 3rd grade or something.
Yeah, well, the comics are
He was
crazy.
in like
He's way
middle
too young.
school.
Yeah, I thought he was
and,
like, wasn't he
They
like?
time jump him eventually.
Yeah, but I
do.
thought he was like 12ish.
I
in the
think
comics.
he was
I'm gonna
10
look
so
into this.
long.
I think he was like really fucking young.
Yeah.
when Peter dies,
Which is cool.
Yeah.
And he's also like,
But Peter's
isn't
also
he-
really young.
Isn't he there when Peter dies too, in front of like Aunt
Yeah,
May's
Yeah,
house?
he's
In the
hanging
crowd,
out. Yeah, he's
yeah.
in the
Like-
crowd. Yeah.
But isn't
Lame.
Spider-Man there like 15 when he dies?
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's like 16.
Everything's
Yeah, he's
really
like-
young then.
He's
That's cool. That's cool
going
take on
into
it.
junior year or something.
Anywho, yeah, he goes back to his house, cries, but they try to immediately. His dad's like trying to get him out of the house because he's supposed to be at school, but she's like, I think there might even be a
mom.
Miho tossed in here, but like,
Mijo, ¿qué te pasa?
yeah, exactly. And,
And that's where you kind of realize, like, oh, he sleeps at school.
yeah,
That's where it all kind of like.
Does he go
click for
home
you.
on the weekends?
yes.
Okay.
He packs a bag to go there for the start of the week,
Yeah.
and then
The second time I saw it back home, there was a couple sitting next to me, and early on, like, all right, we'll see you on Friday. And they're like, see you on Friday? Why? Like, that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
no sense.
Did
I
you
was
lean
like,
over and
he's like, I was confused too.
get the fuck away from me?
Oh, check it out. Was like you.
Pitch black. I can't see you. Go away.
they left like 10 minutes into the movie, never came back. I was so glad because they were very chatty.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I was like, guys, the fucking people in the RGB, they don't play games and they talk during movies.
Oh no, man.
Ridiculous, dude.
That's
Not good.
that's
I don't like
really
the
really
RGB.
bad.
While
like
he
games
sleeps,
and
though,
not
the television breaks the news. Spider-Man's dead. They attribute it to one of the earthquakes that's been going on. There's been weird earthquakes. Nobody knows why.
Love
And so-
seeing the reactions.
Oh my
across
god,
the
seeing
city.
all of it. Yeah, seeing all.
They
of
did
New
a
York
really
react to
good
this.
job, and then it cutting to Mary Jane giving the speech in front of everybody. I was like, "Oh, dude, this is hitting me in the like fucking feels
totally.
right now,
Yeah,
man."
yeah.
And I honestly thought it was Kirsten Dunst voicing her.
Oh, really?
It sounded like her to me. I think it's a Banksy. I love that.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
probably funny. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, everybody's reacting to Spider-Man, and everybody's mourning. Everybody knows it's Peter Parker now. Yes, there's the scene where Mary Jane and Aunt May are Mary Jane's speaking, Aunt May's behind her, and yeah, Miles, inspired by all of this, goes out and goes to a costume shop to buy a Spider-Man outfit, which of course is Stan's costume shop. Stan Lee is there. We get one final scene there with Stan Lee.
Teary-eyed.
Exactly.
Ugh.
Exactly. So
Especially back to back with that the
Yep.
death of Peter Parker. It's like, oh fuck, man, like
Right.
y'all doing it, y'all
Yeah.
doing the thing.
And so yeah, he puts on the suit and goes there and
I like that
at the
also
speech.
everyone else was doing it.
Oh yeah,
Like in solidarity.
Sure, 100%.
Everyone was
Everybody's
going
mourning.
buying Spider-Man
Right,
suit
yeah.
more.
I like that his suit is like no returns.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
guarantee it'll fit. It does not fit.
It always fits in the end or somebody says something. But yeah, he gets there and like Mary Jane's like, it's up to all of us to continue every Spider-Man kind of thing. And Miles is like, it is up to me. They are relying on me. And the guy leans over, not you literally.
I think it's a metaphor.
Yeah, exactly. But then we get to see Miles looking up, like reading the comic book, right? Like you're talking about of like Peter or well, whatever, they're Spider-Man. I forget what they called them in the comic, pushing himself to do it. Miles looking up at a building, he's gonna push himself to do it. We get the cool thing of him going up the stairs, gets there, starts psyching himself up, and then it's him coming down the stairs all defeated.
Such
looking at another
great
building,
comedy
right?
of like
Oh my God.
Yeah. Shorter
the,
building. He's like,
the
what's this?
hype,
Yeah, exactly,
the
exactly.
hype up music cutting off, and it's just pitter patter up the stairs.
So
like it's just
good.
so well done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he falls down though. He doesn't do it well and all this stuff, and so he ends up going to Peter Parker's grave where it's all the Spidey stuff. He says he can't do it, Mr. Parker. He's sorry. Guy walks up, looks homeless. Hey kid. Miles turns around, taps him. Venom strike. It's Peter B. Parker, as we'll find out, right?
Oh, he also broke the goober in the fall.
Oh, right.
Oh,
When he lands
yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah,
exactly.
he lands
Good
on the
point. That'll
taxi.
come in later. Then this is where we get the Peter B. Parker storyline.
Flash
Right?
story,
Yeah,
yeah.
like let's do this one more time, which I loved all of them.
Yeah,
obviously.
single
so
time.
fucking
Yeah,
good.
exactly. Yeah, he's Peter Parker and Spider-Man for 20 years. He's fallen out with MJ because, of course, he doesn't want kids. Aunt May's dead. He's fat, and there's all these different things going on that are amazing.
I love this movie and how it treated all. There's so many characters in this movie, but it never felt overwhelming because it always is Miles' story at the end of the day, and like that's why I feel like this movie is so special. But every side character felt fleshed out, felt like it had a place in a home, and like all the side stories and all things, I feel like everything comes full circle of like him like not wanting kids, and it's like, oh, he also learns. He has an arc in this movie.
when he has that revelation at the same time, great job. Do I want kids?
so good.
So good.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, just shout out to Jake Johnson. What a prince. What a
He
precious.
nailed it.
Right.
He's a beautiful, beautiful person.
Shout out to Tag. If you haven't seen Tag,
Tag's
go
great.
watch.
Go watch Tag.
Just really quick.
Go watch
great.
Let's Be Cops, by the way.
I
That's a
watched
great
an
movie
interview
also.
with Jake Johnson talking about how his characters in movies are always kind of like the normal sort of schlub. And he said, no, but a lot of that is just me. When I show up to set, I'm in slippers and I don't really want to dress up. Or I'll just show up to set I'll show up to set in pajamas. And I'm supposed to be wearing jeans, but they'll be like, all right, you can just wear that. So like my character has become just like a schlub.
The thing about it, of course, is we have a bit of a kind of funny crossover, right? Of like he shared the shirtless Spider-Man painting from Nerf Alice, right? And then that led to everybody being like, Greg, oh my God, you guys hooked us up with him. And I DM'd with him and sent him a shirt that he posed in that it was one of my top 9 on Instagram or whatever. But like that is 100% true because I was like, dude, we do all this different stuff up here. We'd love to have you on a show in San Francisco. We'll fly you up and down. And his response was, he's like, dude, I would love to do that if they're doing a press junket up there. Otherwise, I don't leave my house. And I was like, I respect that.
Shout
I
out
respect
to
that.
him.
You know what I
Shout out to
mean?
you.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to you.
Anyways, this is the introduction of him. Cops are there. They see it. They understand what's going on. Peter, of course, had webbed Miles when he Venom struck him. And so now we have a whole funny physical comedy bit of them getting webbed all over the city, attached to the train, drugged through the street. Peter will wake up sometimes and they get knocked out by something else along the way. There's the awesome one of them slamming into the bus and the people looking at him like slowly sliding off or whatever.
This was the source of his broken nose, like hitting the street and rubbing against
yeah.
it. And it stayed broken the whole movie. I was like, oh, good. I like that.
The cops they hear over the radio, right, of like a kid dressed as Spider-Man dragging a homeless body. Like, yeah, that's awesome. But eventually they get down, they go to the burger place. We don't get the explanation from the trailer. This is one of the things I thought was funny. You noticed the cut, right? Of him being like, this soggy fry, this is your weird universe, and this is my universe.
Oh,
I look forward to that
cut that
deleted
out,
scene. But it doesn't matter. It's still a great scene of them talking. This place closed 6 months ago or
Yeah.
whatever, and it's like
I
awesome.
love that
good.
part.
That-
Being like,
that's
this
such
place
a Kevin
in my
thing.
world is closed, so I'm here. It's like, fuck yeah.
I just love the phrase of, can you spot me? I'm not very liquid right now. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's such a funny line.
He took bad investments, right? Well, don't a restaurant TGI
TGI
Spideys. People who want a spider-themed restaurant.
So
I love him crying in the shower in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
montage.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's so
So good.
perfect.
an Easter egg at some point that was around here is Miles looks at his phone and you see all the contacts and
Bendis
you
is
see
in there.
B. Bendis and Sarah Pichelli, who are the creators, like artists and stuff of Miles. You also get D. Slott for Dan Slott, who's like the writer and inventor of Spider-Verse, the comic, and Jason Reynolds, who wrote the novel Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Very cool. Cool stuff. Cool. Oh yeah, I caught Bendis. I didn't see the others. It's crazy. So yeah, and then all right, we have the speech outside of the building or whatever, where it's like Spider-Man. just Spider-Man from here on out. Peter B. Parker doesn't want to take on Miles. He just wants to get back to his own universe. Miles mentions the Kingpin stuff, the Alchemax stuff, and the USB, which is revealed to be the Goober. That's what he calls it all the time. He's like, there's always an end of the world event. There's always enough time to do something else, though.
I love Gary Wood's tweet about that, where he said, we're just going to call, what's the film
MacGuffin.
terminology? We're going to call every
Call it a
MacGuffin now
Goober,
just
a
the
Goober.
Goober.
Yeah. And so Miles guilts him. He needs to learn all stuff, and Peter's finally like, all right, cool. You can, I'll take you along. You can do this, blah blah blah. And then it's like, cool. Are we swinging our way to upstate New York or wherever the fuck they had to go? And Peter laughs, and they just get on a bus, and it's just great. It's just awesome stuff. Like, you got to save your legs. You'll thank me later. Blah blah. They get outside of Alchemax.
They're
They see
on
all
the
the
bus,
stuff.
like kind of in costume.
Yeah.
But
And
again, in this
everyone's
world,
like-
Peter Parker's dead. So why would
Yeah, who
anybody
cares?
think? Why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
But
really,
it also plays into the laziness of
Oh,
Peter,
sure. Yeah.
whatever his B.
Peter
Parker.
Parker, B. Parker.
Yeah, so funny.
They get there, they look inside, they see, okay, this is where it is. We're gonna go in there, we're gonna get what we need to do, get a bagel. Real funny stuff. All right, cool. Spider-Man goes off on his own, but then Kingpin rolls up, so Miles feels like he has to go in as well. They meet up in the air vent, they figure it all out, they go down, they get into Olivia's office while she's getting yelled at by Kingpin. There's this great scene of like, all right, we gotta get this stuff out, you can turn invisible, you can get it out while I distract her, log in, all that jazz. Olivia comes in. She's excited to be Spider-Man. Not at all perplexed that Spider-Man's there. She's very much been waiting for this kind of thing and very interested in all
What
of
is
it.
her name?
Olivia?
The one that
The voice actress?
the voice actress. Yeah.
Oh.
She's
not
the
Lily-
really, really horny woman
Lily
in
Tomlin.
Good.
Step Brothers.
No.
In Step Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think she was out. The Lily Tomlin plays Aunt May.
M.A.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking
right.
about this actress, and I want to know her
Catherine
name.
Hahn.
Thank you. It's so fucking.
She's in Parks and
funny
Rec, right?
in everything
Yeah, she
she's
is.
in.
Yeah,
Show me a
she's
photo
so
of her.
good.
I don't know.
She
I don't
is.
know. I have no.
You watch Parks and Rec?
Brer, can you pull up a picture of Catherine Hahn, please? She was in, I believe she was in that Jeremy Piven movie, The Goods, where she is trying to have sex with I think it's Rob Riggle, but he plays a kid who has that disease where you just look really old.
Jesus. Anyways, though, this is all happening. She pushes
Catherine
Spider-Man
Hahn.
into a chair. It locks. She turns out that she's Doc Ock.
What
That
a
was
moment,
awesome.
man.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
great reveal.
So cool. Like, I did not expect to be surprised by this movie
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
anything, because I'm like, I'm going in like, I know all this shit. Nah, man, when that happens, like, Gia was next to me
There
and
it
she
is.
was like, oh my God. And like, that's so
Oh, okay.
cool.
Yeah, I know her.
So
Awesome.
freaking
She's
cool.
so funny.
Fucking funny.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Miles is can't hack the computer, or the desktop's too cluttered, which is another fucking
God.
great joke in a second. So yeah, he's gonna run out with the laptop and the monitor, or the tower and the
desktop
monitor.
I love that. No, he's
So funny.
like, good news, by the way, don't need this.
yeah.
Because what's great about this movie is it's kind of self-aware. Everyone in the audience is like, why does he have the monitor? And it's the first thing Spider-Man says. He's like, we don't need this.
They run out. Doc Ock's chasing. Tombstone's involved a bit. Everybody's freaking out.
I love that. That's great. Like, they throw so many villains in this movie. It's just like, we're not even really going to mention
need
that that's
setup.
Tombstone. It's Tombstone.
Yeah,
if you know,
yeah.
you know. If you don't, you don't need to.
They throw the name out at some point.
I do like that really super quick line of where he's trying to figure out the password, and he says, I can't believe I'm 35. Or I forgot what the line is or whatever. And then, and
You
he
don't
types
look a day over whatever it was.
I love that.
I like that he steals the bagel when he runs through, and like, hey, and then they all freak out and they all have guns and shit. That was
And he
great. And then when he
tosses
tosses it, you get again animation of like
Yeah.
the doink,
Bagel.
like the little thing of it.
Going back to your point though earlier, though, like that might be one of the reasons why this movie is not doing as well as it is, because it doesn't hold people's hands. It's not as accessible as something like Spider-Man.
I don't
Homecoming.
think that's the thing. Because I mean, everyone watching it is saying go watch it. I think people aren't watching it because it's animated.
Yeah, I
That's
think
possible.
that's the main
That's
problem
possible.
with it.
But I
yeah.
think it's a little bit far out there for an animated movie, and they don't. That's one of the things I love most about this. But as you when you take a lot of risks in a movie, you are ostracizing a little bit of your audience. Just because you're not holding their hands, you're not telling people who Tombstone is. Like, you're just supposed to know this, and if you don't know it, sucks to be you. Like, I couldn't remember his name the entire time. I'm like, it doesn't really fucking matter. But I think a novice coming into a superhero movie like this would be like, this is a little daunting to see all of these spiders together.
I
I
They did a great job,
I disagree because I think the whole thing of all right,
No.
one more time. Here who I am.
I think they did a great job. I'm saying you're a new person who doesn't really know what Spider-Man is. You see that trailer, you're gonna go, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot for me.
Yeah,
And
I
I-
do think there's some validity. in what
I
you're
also
saying.
think the fact that they can't say, hey, people who don't really care about Spider-Man, Melissa McCarthy is so-and-so, and this voice actor is so, like, the names are recognizable to people like us, but they're not like these giant names that everybody knows.
Oh, so you don't see it in the trailer.
If they would have gotten like
McCarthy in this movie?
no, but they would. But if they would have gotten like Jimmy Fallon to
Featuring a
play
song
somebody
with Pitbull.
else or whatever, that people would have been like, oh, these are actors I know. These are huge stars. James Corden or whatever.
Especially with Miles Morales being someone who I don't recognize.
Yeah,
right
I didn't.
Right?
I forgot his name.
I forget his name, but that's a perfect example.
Shameik Moore was in a movie a couple years ago called Dope.
Oh yeah. Good movie, by the way. That was a fun movie.
All right, so they run, they fight, they do all.
But do they make it? Do they survive? We'll have to find out in a second. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this episode of Kind of Funny in Review is brought to you by Slack. Thank you to Slack for supporting the Kind of Funny morning show. Slack is a collaboration hub for work. No matter what you do, teamwork on Slack happens in channels where your information and conversations are organized around projects, offices, and teams. It's been great. We use it here every day.
Every day.
Even weekends.
Yeah.
We recently added Barrett. That was super simple. When we did the Kind of Funny Game showcase, we had to add Jen to our channels because she was doing her Papa Agenda was
We have
doing
a channel
PR
for
for us.
AF ideas where we just fill that out periodically throughout the weekends. We don't have to bother each other. It's fantastic.
It's
We also have
fantastic.
that, like unlimited space, I think, too, which is awesome because we can just keep uploading files.
That's our entire business is ran using
Slack is our
Slack
backbone.
because like that's where we send thumbnails, that's where we do everything. We get to reduce emails and streamline our team communication, save time, and improve productivity. It's easy and convenient, and it works everywhere you go. That's something that's great. We have our phones at all times. If we want to have notifications on, boom, we get notified. If we want to turn them off, we do.
Great moment last night where Greg said, "Andy, can you update the thermometer?" I said, I can get to it, after the weekend. I don't have my laptop." And he's like, "Oh, I was pointed to where the Photoshop file lived here in the
thanks,
Slack
Andy.
channel."
Oh wait, you didn't do that. Joey did.
Which I think
Joey
She
did it.
pointed me to Slack on that. Why didn't you just say that in the thing?
I didn't
because you
know.
were doing it at 10:30.
I didn't know you had a laptop.
You be quiet. Leave him alone.
Slack allows
He's my
communication to
child,
happen
too.
at any time, even 10:30 at night on a Saturday.
Do you know
Slack.
they have secret Slack channels they don't tell you and me about?
Oh, I guarantee they do.
We have one called Things for Andy. It's fun. It's not a secret, but it's fun.
It was a secret. That's what I had to be directed to. I didn't know it
You
existed.
didn't know about Things for Andy?
No, I didn't know about Things for Andy.
Do you want to start a
that's
secret
great.
Slack channel with me?
Yeah.
Called Champs Champ.
Slack is where work happens. Learn more at slack.com. That's slack.com. SLACK.com. Next up, Quip. Nick, what's Quip?
Quip is an electric toothbrush, and it looks really dope when it sits on your sink, and they got really good tasting minty toothpaste, which I need more of because I finished it on my trip to Buenos Aires,
They
Argentina.
send you the toothpaste. They send you the refill brushes, so you never need to go to the store.
Best part
They
about
make
Quip,
it
by the
easy.
way, and this is no joke, and Josh McCouga can confirm this. It turns out I have been brushing my teeth for approximately 1/4 of the time that I'm supposed to be brushing my teeth. Quip has a built-in timer of 2 minutes, and
minutes.
it'll pulse every 30 seconds when you change mouth quadrants.
What
which,
are the
again,
quadrants, Nick? Please explain.
Upper left, left, up. For the 4 quadrants of your mouth. It's Sunday.
I love
upper
that
right,
last year.
down
You were just
right,
like, oh,
down
this is
left.
so obvious and easy, and then you mess it up.
Upper left,
the
upper
first
right,
one,
lower left, lower right.
Yeah.
The 4 quadrants of the mouth. And it's great because it really does tell you, hey, take a second and remember that your teeth are very, very important. And this will tell you. Because otherwise, if you don't have that timer, let me tell you, you put the toothpaste on there, you put it down, you forget about brushing your teeth.
Yeah, you're just
Be
like, what
once
do
a
I do?
week. Oops, I
Brush
forgot.
heads are automatically delivered on a dentist recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5. A friendly reminder when it's time for a refresh, and stay committed to your oral health.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Quip is one of the first electric toothbrushes accepted by the American Dental Association. They're backed by over 25,000 dental professionals, and they have thousands of verified 5-star reviews. Nick loves Quip. He's been using it. Gia uses it too.
McCouga uses it.
Who?
McCouga.
And McCouga. There you go.
Coogs!
Quip starts at just $25. If you go to getquip.com/KFMS right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/KFMS. And finally, this episode is brought to you by MeUndies, baby. Am I wearing a MeUndies shirt right now? Yeah.
Let's see him,
Am I
boys.
wearing?
Let's see him, boys. Picture's worth 1,000 words. What are you wearing
I'm
today?
not. I don't have my
you
meetings
wearing
on
today?
right
I got
now.
mine on. What's
Green. Oh, you got the avocado green?
They call me the leprechaun.
That's not avocado green. That's avocado
Star
green. They call
Wars
you
going
something,
on.
You want to
man.
see my pot of gold?
Welcome to that 70s show.
Why are you doing the Chris Farley leprechaun?
Please don't
Or
talk
Mike
about
Myers.
your pot of gold ever
The Mike
again.
Myers
The
Wayne's World.
leprechaun.
I know where
So
your pot of
everybody
gold
he-
is.
everyone
It's in the middle
knows-
of the rainbow.
I only wear MeUndies. Greg only wears MeUndies. But we now have a new inductee into the MeUndie lifestyle. Andy Cortez, what are your thoughts on your new MeUndies?
And well, you have some too.
I have them on right now.
Whenever, so I'm not wearing mine right now, unfortunately, because I really
Commando,
need. I
nice.
really need a wash.
What is it?
But I love the way they feel in your legs. For some reason, my legs feel more athletic
Why are
with
they
them
so
on.
high?
And I'm
They
not
make you look
joking.
good, dude.
Yeah, they make you look great.
You're not showing me enough to
They're
tell.
super soft, and one of them has avocados on them.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Sushi,
Kevin's got the sushi rolls.
Kevin's wearing sushi.
Sushi.
not popsicles.
Actually, what I'm saying-
MeUndies.com/morning will get you 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee. That's MeUndies.com/morning. We love them. Get MeUndied out today.
I know they're stretchy, but how do you get so much
he
fabric?
just pulls,
out
but
there?
he's got bear-like strength.
There's that
It's
gif
not
that
paint,
exists.
That's not pulling fabric from other
Greg
places.
doesn't care.
There's the Corey Cudney gif where Greg showed me his underwear and stretched it to about here.
The thing about it, you guys, I want to ask you guys this question about Greg. I just don't think he feels feelings the same way the rest of us do. You know what I mean?
It's Velcro, you know, it hurts my ears. That's probably it. I have less intense. I have less intense.
Wait, Velcro
I have
hurts
less
your ears?
Hurts my ears.
I have less
Oh, you can't
intense
feel, but your
nerve
hearing's way
endings,
better.
but my hearing. You know what I mean?
Velcro hurts my ears. Thanks, Teen Wolf.
What's wrong with you?
They're
So-
fucking running through the woods and shit. All right.
So visually awesome. I love the colors. This is the first time we really get a lot of oranges and yellows and reds in the shot, because most of the other movies kind of like this color scheme, which is my favorite color scheme.
So dope.
But the contrast that we where's your laptop? I love it. I think it's so cool. The trees look awesome, and like you just get a cool sense of them, of how they're
Well,
swinging.
We
and
also
moving
have
through.
this is like the payoff to like him not wanting to teach him how to like swing.
Whip and release.
Oh.
But he's only got
Yeah,
one.
and
They
now,
each only have one of these.
now
right?
he's trying to teach
Yeah.
him on the fly as they need to get away.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. They're doing a pretty good job. But guess what? Doc Ock catches up to him. It looks like all is lost until Gwen Stacy swings on in, knocks out Olivia, takes everything. Hi, guys. Oh, my God. It's Gwen Stacy.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah,
You
right?
saying that.
Doesn't it go into her
Nipples
thing
are
here,
hard,
too?
Yeah,
dude.
of course. Yeah.
Me
Here's
too,
they
right?
went through her whole thing. Then it's cut back to them on the bus. They're going back. They're having a little talk. Peter's laying there looking like he's asleep. He's not, though. He's just letting them talk. And Miles and Gwen hitting it off.
Great
being
little
chums.
moments, man.
Exactly.
Adorable. They're both
Meanwhile,
adorable.
Kingpin's really pissed. You know what I mean? That this fucking happened. He needs his death machine in, one day. You got one day here or whatever. You know what I mean?
Doc Ock's super happy because she's like, it works.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Have we
Yeah.
established why Kingpin's doing this yet?
This is the scene.
This is the scene.
And,
Yeah.
and she says, doesn't Doc Ock say it's our machine? Right? At the very, very end of it? Which I thought was going to play a little bit more
No, I
into
think he
this.
says it's my machine to her.
Yes.
Yeah, at the
and
very-
then Doc Ock says, it's our machine.
Yeah, she said, yeah.
Was it not the other way around? She was
No,
saying
that she gets the last word under her breath as Kingpin walks away.
Which I thought would play more into the plot towards the end, but who cares? Whatever.
But yeah, the whole reason, of course, is that Kingpin fighting Spider-Man, almost going to kill Spider-Man. His wife and child saw it. They were horrified. They left in a fit of rage, maybe fear. They got in a car accident, were killed. So Kingpin's doing all of this to try to find his wife and son in the multiverse and bring them back, which would just fuck over another Kingpin, but he doesn't care about that.
Vanessa way more hateful in Daredevil season 3.
Oh, I liked her in that though. Sad RIP.
What?
The season they canceled it. It'll go somewhere else. Did we establish also that they can't stay in this verse because they're getting sick?
Oh,
Oh,
glitchy.
yeah, they have the
They
shakes.
have that. Well, yeah,
When he first decides he's going to team up with him or whatever.
right. Oh, yeah, my Adams don't want to be in this universe. Yeah.
So that's important.
But then we go to Aunt May's house for a touching reunion there of Peter, who's lost his aunt,
Love it.
and Aunt May, who's lost her Peter. They get reunited. It's very sweet. And
She handles it real well.
Yeah, exactly. Because down in the shed, which is amazing.
Yeah.
How fucking awesome this Spider-Man in this universe was.
He's like, "Do you have one of these?" He's like, "Yeah, but mine's a lot less
Yeah,
showy."
yeah, yeah,
He's like,
exactly.
"It's compensating for something."
I got one of these too.
I love how
Yeah.
him walking in, he's just like, oh, this is too much.
But they go past the spider buggy and all that stuff on the way down, which is
So
cool. They get
good.
there. There's a million suits, including the Insomniac suit in the background.
Such
and
a fun
yeah,
thing.
that's where Penny Parker's introduced Spider-Ham and Spider-Man Noir.
And I love it because they're just like, let's do it one more time. And it's all over each other. And just cutting to three and just going. It's so good, man.
Exactly.
This movie gets it.
And so yeah, they know what they got to do. They got to do this. They got to go back. They got to get the thing. One of them will have to stay behind and die though. Miles is like, no, you don't. I got powers. I can do that for you. Or he's like, okay, cool. What does he do? And they run through Miles' powers. He can't do any of it on demand. He can't go invisible. He can't do the Venom
do
strike.
it on demand. I love that.
And so then the spider people break off into a little thing where they're all like, hey, listen, we understand, but like Miles just isn't ready. Blah, blah, blah. I'll talk shit about Miles. And he has gone invisible and he goes up the little thing all by himself. And it's very sad. It's very sad to see him go away.
Because he said his natural, I guess, reaction is like, I want to be invisible. I'm embarrait's right now. It's
Yeah.
like,
That
it's
makes
really
sense,
cool
yeah,
seeing.
yeah.
And so, yeah, Miles' first thing, devastated. His reaction is, of course, to go to Uncle Aaron's apartment to get some, quality time with Uncle Aaron, or at least talk. He starts writing a note about how he can't do what he needs to do, and yada yada yada. While this is happening, though, the Prowler shows up.
Great theme song.
Oh my
I love the Prowler's music. It's so
it's scary.
horrifying,
Yeah,
man.
it's scary. Miles has gone invisible. Prowler's walking around and
Jump
reveals
scare.
himself, to be
Scared the shit out of me.
Uncle Aaron. Talks to Kingpin on the phone or whatever, and then Miles leaves but bumps something. Prowler hears that he's out and that he's now chasing Miles along the way. Miles thinks he gets away, but he doesn't in fact get away. Miles falls back to the apartment, or no, Aunt May's place. Hey, this is what's happening. My uncle's the Prowler, yada yada yada. Like, were you followed? No, I don't think so. Ding dong. Immediately they've been followed.
There's everyone like at the door, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, it's like all the bad guys are at the door.
Well, some of them break in from behind. I forget who's at the door. Maybe it's just Scorpion.
Yeah.
But I don't remember.
Cool design for Scorpion.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Kind of like
that.
Darth Maul-ish.
Yeah, like the new
Return
Darth
of
Maul.
Maul.
That's
yeah.
from something though, right? I've seen that before.
I don't know what it is.
I forget.
I
what
love
it's
that
from,
he's
but-
like Puerto Rican too, or Cuban. I couldn't really tell, but I just love that he has like, he mostly speaks Spanish. I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
He only speaks Spanish, right?
No, he says a couple of English lines.
Oh, okay.
They break
Yes
in,
and no.
and Maze immediately like, just take it outside. And then again, Nicolas Cage, who we haven't really talked too much about, just stealing the show with these lines.
So
Like,
good.
We don't pick the ballroom. We just dance. So fucking good.
What was his one? There was one line that
Silence.
Was, yeah.
Or sleep.
Yeah.
Was that a callback, a reference to the Raimi Spider-Mans, which was my favorite one of Goblin going,
Oh, I didn't think about that.
You never know because there's so many
Yeah.
things.
I really like the again the callback to Aunt May saying "Get out of here," where it's this thing breaks, that vase is breaking,
When she hits
and it's
him-
all her face in the middle. And she's just like, "Oh,
She
I'm
hits him with
furious."
the bat at
Like
the
that's
end.
her main concern. I
Yeah.
think that's so funny and cute.
They brawl around there. We got a bunch of good fight scenes, a bunch of good interaction, but it's mainly Prowler chasing Miles, who has the goober that Penny and everybody was working on to replicate. Eventually, though, Miles and Prowler battle up to the roof. It looks like it's about the end of this. Prowler has Miles, give me the damn thing or I'm just going to kill you or whatever. And Miles pulls up his mask. Uncle Aaron understands. And he's like,
Powerful, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was such a great moment because I had no idea what was about to happen. I was like,
Yeah.
how is Prowler going to, or Aaron going to deal with this? Is he going to drop him? Is he going to save him? Is he going to turn to be a good guy? Is it like, there was so many different options and
He puts him down,
getting- He was,
He puts the
about
mask
to, but
back
then-
on.
Yeah, he puts it on and then he gets shot.
Gets shot by Kingpin or
What is-
Tombstone.
Did
It's Kingpin. It's
Kingpin.
Yeah.
Did he mean to shoot him?
Yeah.
Kingpin.
He
Yeah.
knew he wasn't getting the job done.
You've gone soft.
Okay. I don't know.
Shoot you
Miles
in the
takes
liver.
off with Prowler's body. The battle rages on right there. We get Miles in the alleyway with Prowler, who, Uncle Aaron's like, he let him down. You know what I mean? He was trying to be somebody he could look up to. He couldn't or whatever.
Ooh, the waterworks.
Oh, yeah. While this happens, of course, Miles' dad's rolls
You're the best
up.
You're the best of us, Miles.
Yeah,
God damn.
He rolls up, comes down. We get like a fairly classic comic book cover from everybody in the world, but his mask up, his hands up, right, and the cop behind him that knows who he is, but not who he is. Miles goes invisible though, gets away, and then leaves his dad to find Uncle Aaron's body. Miles falls back to his apartment with the goober, or his dorm room, with the goober. Spider people he gets there, he's very upset, he throws his graffiti book out the window, it gets thrown back in. It's Spider-Man and team, but it's just gonna be Spider-Man for a while talking to him about like, hey man, you're just not ready for this and we wish you were, but you're not and we understand and you gotta figure it out on your own time. Webs him to the chair, takes the goober back.
Talks about there's a lot of themes of leap of faith in this. Too,
Yeah,
right?
of course,
Talks
yeah,
about,
that's where he
like,
sets
it's
it up,
just-
yeah.
he's
When
like,
will
how
I
do
know
you
I'm
do
ready?
wrong? It's like,
Won't.
you just
You'll
leap
leap of
with
faith.
a leap of faith.
He bounces, they all bounce, they're gonna go do this and just go to the collider, stop this, send everybody home but Peter Parker. While this this is also where we had the funny thing where the roommate gets knocked out of shock.
It's like,
or whatever.
do animals speak in your universe? Because
I want to freak him
out.
out. Yeah, it was great. That was awesome.
And the roommate is another reference to Genki, who's Miles' best friend in the comics, which we kind of got a version of with Ned.
Yeah, Ned's kind of based on him,
guy
right?
in the chair.
Homecoming. Yeah,
So it's like
exactly.
both of them are kind
Most
of like
convincing wig ever.
weird.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Side note, just watched Infinity War again, and Ned's in
good.
that one scene where he's
Yeah.
like, Ned,
We're all
niggas-
gonna die. So good. So great. Yeah. There was something else there.
The speech of
the dad comes out.
No,
Comes
I
in.
know everybody. Hold on. Don't
Knocks
try.
on the
I
door.
understand.
The dad
Okay,
knocks
fine.
on the
Just
door.
do
He
it.
webs his mouth. He webs his
He
mouth.
talks to him.
Which I'm always worried when they web the mouth, because what if your sinuses are blocked?
Right?
Yeah, I know,
You're
totally.
gonna
You're gonna
fucking
die.
die.
Again,
It's
a
like,
very, very
could be
touching
hot, could be
scene
death.
of the dad talking to Miles through the door, but Miles can't respond. But you understand the dad's going through so much, and
Yeah.
I think the dad. And I'm speaking out of turn, but I think for a lot of people, you see elements of your father in that dad. My dad is very much the guy who is stoic and doesn't show that emotion, and I can imagine that conversation, seeing shades of that with my father. The dad walks away, you know what I mean, in Miles. This is his inspiration. We see the venom or whatever you want to say go through his surge through his body. He busts out of the thing. He's ready to go be Spider-Man and save the day. But his first, we got a montage, obviously. But his first stop is to go to Aunt May's place. She's like, "What took you so long?" He takes one of the suits, he spray paints it black. Oh my god,
God damn.
This
Which
scene-
suit does he take?
So good.
I think he takes the classic
He
Spider-Man.
takes the classic
Oh,
one and
it's a
spray paints it all, dude.
One of the best
fucking
scenes in
song,
any
What's Up, Danger?
superhero movie.
It is so good because we all know we're gonna get the suit up scene. We know we're gonna get this like him becoming the hero scene. This movie just condensed it down. The editing was great. We get Aunt
sound.
May. We get all this stuff that's so good. The visuals. Earlier in the movie, we see him when he tries jumping off this short building, and it's like as he falls
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah.
And this time it's woo
Yeah,
as he
yeah,
jumps
yeah.
up. It's like
But also,
so
isn't
many
that where we get
visual
this
callbacks,
shot?
and that's where we get this
Yeah,
fucking
which is
shot.
fucking
man.
awesome.
Which I never picked up on because I'm not like you guys in a film. Oh, I'm gonna break down scenes or whatever of like
Upside
this
down
is,
world.
it-
Like
no, what?
everything's been turned upside down for him.
Oh, the main thing that people pointed out is that he's jumping downward, right? But it's him ascending as Spider-Man,
Yeah,
and that's why
And
they flipped it
something
around.
super fucking cool that they did going back to like this movie being unique and how much behind the scenes stuff they're putting out there. Sony released the script to this movie. Did you see this? It's super freaking cool. The entire script, the final script of this movie is out online for free. You can just get it. And somebody edited this scene, the What's Up Danger scene, with
that
the
must have been
script,
where I saw it, yeah.
script underneath it. As the screen's like 50-50, and like you can see what they wrote and what it ended up turning into.
cool.
And it's so cool.
cool.
Where like during this part, the script's like he like gets closer and closer to the edge, like unsure or whatever, and then he jumps off, but he doesn't fall. He rises up the screen and whatever. It's just like, oh my god, this is so cool.
Yeah, the thought
Damn.
that the glass still stuck to his hands because he was still a little scared, but he still made the leap of faith. It's like so fucking great.
What is the song that's playing when this
What's Up,
happens?
Danger?
That's fucking dope.
It's so good.
So good.
That was just
I want to
just
see this
bump-
movie again so bad right
know.
now. Just
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about it, you know what I mean?
bumping that
Let's go off
shit
the rest of this
super loud
podcast.
back home in my dad's 2014 Honda
yeah.
Civic.
Hell yeah,
Holy
dude.
shit, dude! Stock speakers, bro. Really loud.
You get
Going
that
down
crinkle?
Yeah,
It really is the sign of a good song is when it blows one
Yeah.
of your speakers in your dad's Honda.
driving down Jackson. Yeah, I love it, man.
So guess what? He's back. He's Spider-Man. Hooray! But while that's happening, our team of Spider-Men and women have decided they need to infiltrate Fisk Tower, where they're having a gala right now to celebrate the sacrifice Spider-Man did. And so all the waiters
good.
and servers are dressed as Spider-Man, so it's easy
like,
for them to
it
sneak in
can't
just
be
dressed
that
that way.
simple.
And then it's just cuts them with little bow ties on walking in, and it's that simple. However, Mary Jane is there as well. This universe's Mary Jane, which immediately throws Peter B. Parker into a loop-de-loop of feeling like he has to talk to her, but not being there. And everybody's trying to talk him out of it.
God,
It's
The
Yes.
bread conversation. Can we have some
Yeah.
bread? I'm gonna bring you so much bread.
I should have bought you more bread. I should have been more attentive to your needs. It's funny.
okay.
It's really, really well done. And then it's back to the mission at hand or whatever. There's another rumble from the basement as they do it, and something happens where it all pops off and they got to go down there and all the
Didn't
shit's
they, like
breaking
crash
loose.
through the elevator or something?
That's what I'm trying to say. I forget how we get from.
get down.
I feel like
somehow.
this scene is the weakest of the movie. Not that
I
it's
love
bad, but I just feel like it slowed things down in a way that I was like,
They infiltrate because of this. Whatever they needed to do,
Yeah.
they do, I guess, whatever, and they get to they get to go down there, and they're working on it, and the colliders are starting to go, and all hell's breaking loose, and buildings are coming through, and they're gonna fight, but how are they gonna do it? And they got to get the goober, and then Miles comes in like, oh my god, it's Miles, and he's fucking awesome, and he's doing crazy cool shit, and Gwen and Spider-Man are like, I didn't teach him that. Did you teach him that? No, it's like he's just fucking rad. He's just fucking rad.
He's just doing the do.
So again, a bunch of cool fights are happening here. You know what I mean? I think Scorpion's back, right? And he makes the crack about cartoons or whatever. And then Anvil gets dropped on him, and the fucking Spider-Ham kicks the shit out of everybody with his mallet. And it's just fucking beautiful.
Gold.
Everything's great. Everything's fucking
in your
great.
pocket.
Yeah. We get up there then, and it's time to say goodbye. Everybody's got to jump into their hole to get out of there.
which was such a surprise for me. Like I was saying this earlier, like this is Miles' movie. I was shocked that they
Left him for the final battle?
There was so much movie left. Yeah, the final battle, they leave.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's good. Even Peter B. Parker.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great call.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome too, right? Everybody leaves and goes, and then we get the thing with Gwen. If you want to, I think we're friends now or whatever. And then it is down to Peter B. Parker who doesn't want to leave, but it's Miles calls him on his bullshit, right? It's not that he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't think Miles can do it. He doesn't want to leave because he doesn't want to go back to that life and try to have to deal with his adult problems and his Mary Jane problems and all these different things. And Miles turns it around and does the leap of faith thing on him again and lets him go, and it's awesome. And I'm tearing up talking about it right now.
So
It's
good.
such a great moment.
That's all, folks. Can you say that legally?
yeah. What a great fucking line. You know what I mean? And so then, it's Wilson Fisk versus Miles Morales. And Miles gets his ass kicked. I mean, he gets in a lot of good shots, but he gets his ass kicked for a little bit. But, his dad shows up and Miles sees that. And it's the classic Spider-Man shit of, you got to get back up. You're Spider-Man. And so, he gets back up and eventually does the Venom strike on Wilson. And then while he was fighting, all the brothers showed up. Or all the...
it didn't do it for me. I don't know why.
Wilson's family from every dimension got to see him be an asshole and run away. And that...
It's such a fucked up, moment where it's like, hey, now you're screwed. Every version fucking gets
every
to witness
universe
this.
possible. You're an asshole.
Right. But Miles Venom strikes him. Everything stops. He stops the thing. He actually throws Wilson into the goober button, sets it off, blows up everything, saves the multiverse. Hooray! Then it's outside, and Miles' dad is trying to clean up everything, keep everything safe. Miles calls him. It's the first time he's talked to him. We left this out that they weren't, you already knew they didn't talk at the dorm room, but they haven't had contact in quite a while. He calls him, they talk, but Miles cuts it off early and comes down as Spider-Man and does his horrible I'm a kid trying to change my voice thing. What's up, officer? Yeah. So fucking good. And then hugs him.
Gives him a big hug.
Yeah, and then tells him I love you as he walks away. So fucking good.
Yeah.
I saw people had problems with that. I was like, I thought it was
a great scene,
I
I do have problems with it.
Right.
Because story-wise, it's just okay, so he now knows he's Spider-Man. There's no way he doesn't know.
Well, he was confused.
Even if he's confused, the next time he thinks about it, he'll be like, that's my son.
Yeah, but you wouldn't realistically speaking, you wouldn't be why would you think my son?
Yeah, I
is
don't know
Spider-Man?
if he knows.
If I saw
Because
someone if I saw someone that vaguely looked like had Andy's shape, and then they hugged me, I'd be like, I wouldn't jump to the
Well, you're not
conclusion that
Andy's
Andy
dad.
is Spider-Man.
But it's that. But then it's also the day before they literally had the big scene about the I love you, about how he said it. And then for him to say it, it's that's all.
My biggest thing about it is, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I mean, right now in current continuity, right? Miles Morales, Spider-Man #1. I was talking to you about it. I loved the book and I read it, but I've been lapsed on what's happening ever since Miles came to 616. So the fact that the parents do know, and it's this weird thing where the dad used to be a SHIELD agent, shit like that. But it's okay, cool. That universe can't exist that way still. They can know. Whatever. I was fine with it. I hope he does know. I always think it's weird when.
I'm not against him knowing. I just thought it was weird if
they're going to play it off that he doesn't know.
That's fucking bullshit.
I feel like that was a moment that was needed. He had to say
It was great. I thought for the movie, I thought it was great.
closure.
And then Wilson Fisk is webbed up by the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Then we get Miles
with the fucking graffiti sticker, dude.
Yeah.
So tight.
And so then we get, let's do this one more time for real, last time, whatever. And it's Miles Morales.
Let's
and just
go, baby.
A stirring speech. Everybody asks me where I cry in this movie because I've talked about crying. I tear up throughout it for everything. This speech at the end when he says, we're all Spider-Man, anybody can wear the mask kind of thing, that makes me cry because, again, that's why I think comic books have been such an influence on my life, right? Of anybody can be the good guy. Anybody can make the hard choice to do good things or be a better person. That's one of them. And then it's the tribute to Stan Lee in there that makes me cry every time too, because the music stops and it's dead quiet. Just the quote up there. It's oh my God, right? Then it's, post-credit scene with 2099. Did I skip a post-credit scene? No, there's just the one.
Well,
There's just one.
Yeah, there's just the one with Miguel, which is cool.
I was expecting that voice to be different. Or who voiced him?
Oscar Isaacson.
Oscar Isaac, it wasn't?
Isaac.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Because I could have sworn I Googled it and it wasn't him.
That's awesome.
That was him.
Okay.
That's
He's
so
listed
perfect that it
as
was him.
interesting person #1 in the credits because the credits roll before they reveal that it's
Yeah, the voice of
They didn't want to Metal Gear Solid 4.
the AI. I forget who the AI is. Or not, the AI person
the
talking
AI
about.
is someone not as recognizable.
But it was also that was interesting person #2, right? Yeah.
What-
And it's just so brilliant because it's also setting up whatever the next one will be. I think isn't it supposed to be Spider-Women next time or whatever?
There's
Or
two.
Okay, doesn't matter. But he's the first guy now that has the the spider wristwatch basically that lets him go on his own and decide and change and probably keep his molecules stable and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then use it in such a funny way to go back to the meme.
Do we know who voiced the 67 Spider-Man meme?
I don't know.
Because that was a really good kind of callback to that, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
I think it was the original voice actor, actually.
Yeah.
You think so?
You think so? Mm-hmm. Came all the way back.
Yeah. Is there any chance he's still alive?
No, absolutely. not.
I mean, it's
totally.
It's possible that they just used some of the stuff that he did originally.
I'm so unfamiliar with the original clip that I don't even know how much
I didn't get that joke per se, but
It's a meme.
It's a meme, yeah.
I understand that now.
It was a meme, Nick.
Nick.
Do you know what a meme is?
No, I have to watch American Meme.
And
on,
the end, it's
on
over.
Netflix first.
The end, it's over. There's some weird, Gwen's kind of talking to him shit. Which again,
How
don't
did that-
like that.
There was another post credits, right?
Was that post-credit?
Was that did it?
That was
right.
the end.
That's
Movie.
right
was the
before
end.
the credits.
That was
right at
like
the end of the
the.
movie.
Right before the credits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How's she doing that?
I know.
You know what I mean?
What do you mean? How's
We'll
she doing?
figure
What,
it
coming
out
back?
in the sequel.
How does she
Yeah,
come
how's
in?
she coming back to him? How's she opening a little portal?
The watch Miguel
She was
has.
wearing the watch?
I'm sure it's now. It's not. I mean, yes, I'm sure it's just like every. Now
We didn't
they
even
all-
know Miguel had it yet.
I know, Kevin. It's because time's a flat circle. It doesn't matter what we know or what we don't know. It's what do they know.
We'll
right?
figure
like
it
it.
out in the sequel.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
Sure we will. Now it's time to rank the Spider-Man movies.
Wait, hold on. Were they born in labs? Now it's time to rank that flab. Fat Peter Parker was not.
Fantastic decision.
So
Fantastic
good.
decision.
So good.
And the fact that they kind of committed to it the entire time. There were scenes where he was like skinnier when he was being more actiony, but then there were scenes where he's just so puddly, and it's so fun.
There's so like every scene where he talks about it, it's just so good. Where
he's
he's
just
like,
like-
"Yeah, I work out still." It's just
God.
'cause
Yeah.
I was,
That was a great
I was in my
choice.
apartment
Doing crunches.
doing crunches, push-ups, and just him eating pizza.
Love it.
So damn
He's number
good.
one on the flab list.
Oh,
Fantastic.
wow. A new number one.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Crazy.
And
That's exciting.
I don't know. No. That was all sorts of sports.
Ragu.
what's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, the podcast within a podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside my Hispanic heartthrob, Andy Cortez.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And the glue, Kevin Coelho. It's been a while, so let's start at the top. Ragu Bagu, Volume 2.
Yeah,
Having a
yeah, no,
stroke.
yeah.
The current standings for all the Spider-Man villains, starting at the bottom, go: number 6, Venom, New Goblin, Sandman, Spider-Man 3. Number 5, Evil Elon Musk and Riot, and whatever one that one was. Number
Venom.
4, Electro and Gobney, or Gonby is what I wrote. Number 3, Norman Gosborn. Number 2, Lizzie. Number 1, Doc Con, which I think is Doc Ock, not Doc Connors, which is Lizzie.
Yeah.
Remember, whatever I write in lists is the list. So that's the list.
This is easily number one.
Of course.
Put it at number one.
We're talking about, we're giving it to Kingpin, right?
Kingpin, yes.
All right, that was it.
And you
Kingpin
know.
at all.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. And see, as I said, it autocorrected to Kingpin Eat All. So there you go. That's how the
What
list
do you
is
have
now.
something to say, Nick?
Oh no, I was gonna say I love this movie, and obviously we're gonna rank it fairly high, if not the highest on the list, I assume. But Kingpin for me was the weakest part of this movie. I was like, he's just kind of a generic bad guy to me. His motivations for wanting to find his family, I kind of get that, but we just didn't explore it, and I just didn't feel like it was
loved
nearly
it.
as
Yeah,
compelling. Well, I actually didn't feel like it was nearly as compelling as Michael Keaton's character in Homecoming.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. I feel like it was serviceable. It did the job.
it
I
was
didn't
what it was.
dislike it, but it wasn't as good as the good guy stories.
That's
Yeah,
what I thought. We had so many
100%.
good. We had so many good guy stories that I don't
To
need
focus
more.
on,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't need to worry about.
But I do think he's easily number one.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said,
sorry.
I don't
Well,
think
yeah,
it was.
Vulture doesn't
I don't
count.
think it was
Yeah, exactly.
to the
But she was
detriment
on-
of the movie. I just feel like that was the one thing where I'm like, especially coming hot off the heels of season 3 of Daredevil, where they do such a fucking good job with Kingpin. And
He's
making him
incredible.
terrifying,
Without ever leaving a room.
Yeah, he doesn't leave the fucking room the entire time. Well, technically, that's spoilers.
No, I know.
But they did such a good job there that I'm like, that's a great way how you set that character up, and you actually almost empathize with them at certain points.
100%.
I think that the like motivation, like the reason behind it was so good in the sense that like it did give this whole story, like it was the purpose, like it was the starting point, you know.
And we didn't need this, 40-minute backstory or whatever. It was just
We
that
got
clip
the
and you
shot,
understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like you know what's happening, and he's trying to get his family back.
Great.
Little family.
All right.
Dumbass kid. I wouldn't want to get him back. You know what I mean?
If they can't understand, where did they think all this money was coming from? All right.
What do you think? You're John Gotti's kid? He's- what is he, a fucking car dealer?
Exactly. You know what
You're
that
John Gotti's
family
kid.
business is.
You know what you get yourself
Dumb
into.
little kids. Time to
Tough on
rank
kids.
the Spider-Man movies. At number 6, we have Spider-Man 3. At number 5, we have Spider-Man. Number 4, we have Venom. Number 3, we have Spider-Man 2. Number 2, we have The Amazing Spider-Man. And number 1, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Boo.
Wait, what? Yeah,
Wait,
you
what?
just made that up? Like you changed that on your own, or what's up?
What?
Did you just say it? You flipped Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3,
No,
no?
he said number 1. We have the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay, all right, sorry.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
This is the rankings as they stand.
I just said what because it's a bad ranking.
It is. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
I
fair.
thought I heard
Hey,
it backwards,
I mean, I
but
agree.
think
It's by committee.
Yeah.
This was voted on.
Bunch of
it's
dumb
the
guys.
best we could agree on.
It is what it is, guys.
So
Time to-
where does Into the Spider-Verse go?
Ooh,
Number
it's a
one.
tricky
Thinking
one.
maybe
yeah.
because like after watching Venom again, I
don't know.
I don't know.
Does anyone disagree
He wasn't in the movie.
that this is number 1?
This is easily
No,
number
yeah,
one.
it's-
This
Cool.
is easily
Great.
number one.
New number
Easy,
one,
easy.
Into the Spider-Verse. Now, the more important question.
I don't have this ranking.
No, we don't need to put it. Like,
Okay.
this is just like a conversation. Is it better than Homecoming? Because obviously Homecoming would have been number one otherwise. Homecoming, Into the Spider-Verse.
I think it's better than Homecoming. When Homecoming came out, it's a movie that I love, but not as much as everybody at the table. I feel like I'm the only one who, when we did the final MCU rankings, I had it the lowest. I still think it's a great movie, but I think the villain is the strongest part of Homecoming, probably. Like not the strongest part. I would say.
No, I'd say it's probably
That- yeah,
one
no,
of the
I'd
strongest
Yeah,
parts.
I guess so. But I would say the Michael Keaton, the villain there, is stronger than the movie than the villain in Spider-Verse, which is Kingpin. I'd say that's the only thing it has on it. I do think overall, not only visuals, obviously, but story, motivation. I want to say you really caring for the character. We cared for Tom Holland as well, but I just think
Yeah,
you
when he's
can-
buried in the rubble,
great.
and you're like,
Great
fuck.
great
Down
scene.
here.
Yeah, I still think everything came together better here. I don't know. It's hard to explain why. I think you just need to watch him.
Kev?
I think that Homecoming goes first. It's that reveal where you're like, oh shit, he's the villain, was such a big moment for me. And the movie theater, this movie had a lot of amazing moments, but like, man, I love Homecoming.
Greg?
I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't know we were trying to pick our children here on the train tracks.
Yeah.
Why don't you
Do you want me to come back to
want to
it?
live? You can come back to it.
Okay, come back.
Nick?
I like Homecoming better, but not by a wide margin. I think that you don't get Into the Spider-Verse without Homecoming. I think Homecoming was the movie we all needed from a live-action Spider-Man movie coming off. What was, again, you have your opinion on the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans and the Amazing
bad.
Spider-Mans. You can have your opinion on them, right?
They're bad.
But you can have your opinion on them.
They're bad.
Kevin, please stop. Well, I've lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
So you go Homecoming?
Yeah, Homecoming.
I feel like Homecoming and Into the Spider-Verse are exactly equal for me. And if I had to choose one, I'm going to go Into the Spider-Verse only because I saw it a second time and I was just like, every single thing I liked about it the first time, I liked even more the second. Will I change my mind in the future? Possibly. When it comes down to it, I feel like Homecoming is so important and so good because it did what was impossible, which is make a good Spider-Man movie after we had seen
So many bad ones.
so many movies, so many Spider-Man movies, so many origin stories. And for them to come out, not have to do the origin story and have it make sense, have good villains, have a cast of characters that didn't make us go like, oh, great, it's Mary Jane again, and oh, it's this again, it's this again. It's like they created a world that is authentically Spider-Man while paying tribute to everything else, but not overdoing it. And I thought that was impossible. Then we get this, and they do an origin story, and it's the best origin story. Like we just got 7 to 10 origin stories in one movie, and all of them were fucking perfect, like pitch perfect. And at the end of the day, to me, it's the style. Like Spider-Man's my favorite comic book character of all time. There's nothing I love more than like hip hop and Jordans and all that shit in this movie, and the fucking neon pink and blue. This movie was kind of just like a weird ass, like, we're just gonna do something that Tim couldn't even fathom wanting, and they accomplished it on so many different levels. So I feel like right now I would say
I think
Into
it's
the Spider-Verse.
without a doubt one of the coolest movies that has ever existed. Just in
And-
terms of
Right.
Yeah.
the vibe and everything. It's the same sort of vibe that when I walked out, I felt jealous that I wasn't a part of it. That I didn't help. That just like, man, it must have been so cool being one of the collaborators, whether it's an artist or a MoGraph or music, whatever the hell you were doing, right? And it reminded me of Scott Pilgrim. I had the same feeling too, where it's like, it must have been so cool that you have this playground of we can do whatever the hell we want because it is an animated movie and because it isn't going to be your typical sort of Marvel movie that is a, Marvel movies are fairly cookie cutter. I think we can say that. This movie is completely different. And I do think I had lower expectations going into this. Well, obviously not after the reviews or whatever, but when the trailer revealed that Peter Porker is there and Noir Spider-Man and Penny Parker, I think we mentioned on the morning show that I was like, this is kind of worrying me because I'm scared it's going to take away the focus from Miles. And I don't want this to be a smorgasbord of like, hey, it's, even though Lego and Lego Batman and even the Lego movie are good movies, there's a lot to sort of process. And this movie just, I think, blew away any expectation that I had.
And I think visually it's so important that this movie, in addition to just doing Spider-Man again and doing it right, it does something new for animation. Like we've never seen something look like this, where it's like I remember seeing the trailer for the first time. It's like,
Being like,
is this like animated claymation? Like what's going on? And it's its own unique thing. And going back to a lot of the same people worked on it with Lego Movie. Like when I first saw the trailer for Lego Movie, I'm like, I've never seen anything like this.
It looks sort of stop motion. It looks weird.
It can't be because it can't actually be real shit. I think it's fucking cool. Greg.
Surprising myself, but not really when I think about it and how the movie's affected me. It's Into the Spider-Verse. I think it's weird because it's grading not on a curve or anything, but like I love Homecoming so much for all the reasons you've pointed out, and like obviously it fitting so well into the MCU, and obviously it being a new take on Spider-Man after we've seen so many different iterations of it on the silver screen. But Into the Spider-Verse, as I tweeted after seeing it, right? Like Spider-Man Homecoming didn't make me cry multiple times in multiple viewings. Spider-Man I'm buying Into the Spider-Verse as soon as I can, right? On Blu-ray. Like I don't buy physical media. I want this.
This is gonna look so
and
great
I
on
want
a
to play
4K
this, and I
screen.
want to watch it over and over again. And I want it. It will be a movie. I think I just click on just to have on or do whatever with, right? I think it established its characters so well. It introduced them to, I mean, like, you know, Tim, you're a Spider-Man fan. I'm a Spider-Man fan. We love comics. To sit there and see Miles Morales as the star of this movie, to see people now know who Spider-Gwen is and understand that in a different way they didn't before, right? But back to what I had tweeted about after, right? Like, this movie is why I love comics. Like, it is a comic book when it's a comic book you're watching. You understand. I don't know if that reads to people who don't read comic books, but the pacing, the storytelling, the presentation, like the motivations, the speeches, like it's very much, you know, they get to break the fourth wall and talk to you in a very, very comic book way and express what they're trying to do and what their point is.
It does feel like a 6-issue arc, like for a trade. And I think that, as I was saying earlier, when there's the different covers that come up, I think there's 6 of them. Like I think that this movie is actually paced where each bit's supposed to be its own standalone story.
That's really cool. That's true.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a stellar achievement. Yeah, I can't wait. I hope that, like you're saying, it gets the awards it deserves and stands out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the final episode of Kind of Funny's Spider-Man in Review. For now, at least. I'm sure that there will be more Spider-Man movies.
Home. Oh, wait, no, you're right.
That's an MCU in Review. That will return, and Captain Marvel, all that stuff. Next week begins Kind of Funny's Fast and Furious in Review. Every week, starting next week, we're going to do Fast and Furious, the Fast and the Furious, then Too Fast, Too Furious, then the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, then Fast and Furious, then Fast 5, then the Fast and the Furious 6.
Oh, so you taking notes?
AKA Furious 6, as the title says. Then Furious 7, then The Fate of the Furious. And then later in the year,
Hobbs and Shaw.
Or Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Exactly.
Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So many words.
Let's
love it.
fucking go, baby. This has been a lot of fun. Until next week.
Thanks for swinging by.